Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Sports Productions, bringing you game number 4 of this clan war between GG Kids and Eternal Dreamers. I first want to apologize for last game's technical difficulties as well as some lag issues. Obviously Twitch is having some technical issues of their own, and some of the stream is a little bit on the laggy side, but no big deal. We'll go ahead and get this thing started by introducing our players. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of Frost Ladder Edition is going to be Eternal Dreamers Migraine. And spawning in the upper right-hand corner after some very interesting plays in the last couple games, it is going to be GG Kids Endless Dark. So, we will have to see how things go. We've seen lots of PvZs today. Actually, this will be number 4. So, lots of Protoss players, lots of Zerg players. We'll have to see how things turn out. So far, you know, as a function of this map being such a large map, we are seeing a drone scout out, so that's kind of interesting. I am not sure whether or not this is a forced cross-spawn position. I know most of the games that I have seen on it have tended to be cross-spawn, but by the looking of the scout pattern of Endless Dark, it does appear that maybe it is not necessarily forced cross-spawn. So we are seeing a gateway opening. Now I am not sure if this is a single sliver for a Zealot, and then the Cybernex core will go here. That's kind of what it looks like, but no big deal. Because I would think that it would make more sense to put the gateway here and then I don't know, probably a preference thing. Anyways, so we are seeing a gateway opening first out of Migraine. I know that tends to be kind of the favored build order for most players. Forge Fast Expand is still viable, still fairly popular amongst some of the pro players out there. But in my opinion, it's a little bit slower. Obviously, you've got a little bit more of a drawback just because you delay your tech so terribly long. So we are going to see this drone come in here, take a look, see, and take the gas, which is kind of interesting. So he is looking to hinder that gas income and give himself a nice little edge, which is kind of interesting. Personally, I would say that this is a little less prevalent in the PvZ matchup, just because it is very easy to go for a single gas opening to get your expansion up as quickly as possible, and then follow up with your mothership core and your warp gate research, and pretty much have no big deal transitioning from that. And obviously you can build another Zealot to take care of this extractor. It's really not that big of a deal. So we are seeing a fairly quick third base coming out of Endless Dark, which I'd say on this map, since it is so large, getting that third base up fairly quickly is, you know, fairly viable. Yeah, so we did see, let's see, the gas came down probably just after the spawning pool, which makes sense. So he went for kind of a fairly quick hatch, and is going to be pulling out at the 100 gas mark to get his speed. So finally, extractor getting taken out. Things are looking kind of to take more of the passive route. Obviously, Endless Dark is going to be more so focused on getting his 3 bases up and running, and basically focusing on getting into the macro later game. So, we'll have to see what Migraine has up his sleeve as far as tech choices. So far, we have his 3 gateways down. Hasn't really given us the option of what he's planning on doing. A lot of Overlords coming in from the side here. It isn't quite to the natural yet, but we'll definitely be getting there. And then these couple links are going to come across and basically just get a feel for what's at the front of Migraine's base and kind of where things are going. I'm going to try and sneak in there, but not really very successful. Looks like Migraine is trying to get a good idea of whether or not the third base is being taken, which is obviously not quite there just yet. Behind this, looks like we've got lots of lava being injected, things like that. Still really haven't seen anything out of Endless Dark just quite yet. Now, I would be expecting probably in the next 20 seconds or so to start seeing some gas come down. Then again, we do have a handful of links popping out, which means that obviously Endless Dark could tend to be aggressive. We have seen him be more on the aggressive side in the past couple of games, so could very well be that way. And actually, he's going to get a very, very good read on that pylon being there, and that is more or less going to deny this DT option that that Migraine has gone, which honestly, in PvZ, I don't really think is the right choice, because by making the investment in the Dark Templars, even if you warp out 2 or 3, really you're kind of banking on your opponent not really doing too terribly much early on. Pretty much the only thing that your opponent needs to do is get out his lair tech as quickly as possible, as well as some spore crawlers, and that's exactly what Endless Dark is doing. So he's going to be more than ready for those DTs once they come out, and I would assume that once Migraine gets in here and sees basically that pretty much that option is out, he's going to have to start to look into a different option. Personally, I think he would be way better off focusing on using those Dark Templars for Archons now, rather than going into just using the DTs to harass, because really, the likelihood of them getting anything accomplished is probably slim. So, at this point, we really haven't seen a follow-up to what Migraine's going for. Obviously, he's got one DT kind of on the way. He's got some pylons and some DTs harassing. Actually, might get a couple queens out of the deal, which is a really, really big deal. Obviously, the DT is going to get cleaned up, but even just a couple queens is really, really nice. Ooh, including the 3rd queen in the main. So all of the queens are actually now down and out for the count. So things are definitely looking very, very good. Actually, that harassment did a lot more damage than I anticipated. So very, very good job by Migraine. Behind this, nothing really going on in the main. We still haven't seen a follow-up tech. I really would have liked to have seen this go down a lot earlier. Robotics Facility, I think, is the appropriate choice, because third player, the conception in his mind that Archons are a potential, and obviously going for a Mutalisk type tech switch isn't going to be your best option. So I do understand that we are probably going to be seeing kind of a Roach Hydra type composition coming out here fairly shortly, but obviously, Migraine will have the Robotics Facility. We'll have to see if he goes ahead and gets the Robotics Bay for his Colossus tech fairly quickly, because I would assume that would be the main follow-up that he would have. So, the army is out here, so these Lings, while they might be able to do a little bit of damage by getting a handful of probes, aren't really going to accomplish too terribly much. And things are kind of looking like they're going to head out into the mid-game and get ready for things to come. So let's see, I think that was Roach Speed is now done. We have upgrades-wise, we're looking at +1 attack for our Protoss player, as well as +1 missile attack for the Zerg player. And we really haven't seen the Hydra tech come out, so he is going to go for a Ling Roach composition, which is kind of interesting. I would have expected, just with the DPS options that the Hydras have, I would have thought that Hydras would have made a lot more sense. Obviously, if your opponent's got DTs, he's probably got at least 1 or 2 Archons. Obviously, we don't see that just yet, but that means that the Lings are really not going to be your best option. So it looks like Endless Dark is looking to assault this 3rd base, but I really don't see anything happening there. Single Zealot wall-off kind of is the deterrent from getting into the natural. So an Endless Dark is going to go ahead and come in here. We'll go ahead and back it out just a little bit. So he does split off a handful of units to go and pressure the natural. Ooh, and the Zealot is off of hold command position. So the Lings will actually get into the base. We'll have to see if they can do too terribly much damage. A couple Zealots being warped in, and more or less the army out attacking the 3rd is more or less cleaned up. So yeah, so things are looking very, very good for Migraine. You can see that there is a supply deficiency for Migraine, but in general, I would say that he's still in a fairly decent position, because Zerg tend to have to trade a lot more favorably than Protoss players. So a lot more Stalkers getting morphed in. Stalkers versus Roaches, obviously they trade fairly well, but obviously he needs to be very, very careful. Obviously a handful more Immortals would probably be more favorable. Yeah, he's got 4 out on the field. I think he's in a halfway decent position as far as Immortal count, but I would think that he would start to look at getting in the Templar tech. So really needs to cancel this pylon here because it's really not going anywhere. So it looks like we do have a move out on the field. Obviously he's going to come out, get a general sense of what's going on. Now obviously the armies are starting to enclose on each other. What would be really, really nice is if he went ahead and warped in just 1 or 2 DTs to start picking away at the 4th base. But we are going to get maybe not. Ooh, nice blink forward, getting a handful of units right off the bat. Things are still looking a little bit scary for Migraine. Obviously, he needs to get unpylon blocked as quickly as possible. But it doesn't look like we have 3 pylons. Ooh, there they are. DTs are coming in and actually doing a significant amount of damage on that 4th, and the 4th is going to go down. Now he is going to go ahead and blink forward in and try and pick off some of these overseers, which actually put him into a really, really good position to let these DTs kind of reign free in this engagement. So some really decent force fields coming out, getting a lot of the units picked off right there at the beginning. Needs to be very careful not to lose his Mothership Core, because that Mothership Core is going to be a very, very key part in him recalling if anything goes too terribly wrong. Roaches are coming in here trying to get a good enough concave, but the Roaches are just absolutely melting with the Worlds attacking. And yeah, Endless Darkness is going to have to back off of this. Now, it does look like some of his rallies are a little bit misplaced, so there still needs to get that fixed. But with this engagement coming in, it looks like things are looking very, very good and solid for Migraine. His Immortals are doing so much damage as all of the Roaches just absolutely decimated. And these DTs now coming in, there's not really much that Eternal Darkness is going to be able to do, and Eternal Darkness is going to call GG, and that is game number 4. Game number 4? Yeah, I believe that's game number 4. So that would make a tied ball game here in StarCraft 2 in this clan war against GG Kids and Eternal Dreamers.